top 10 highest mountains in the world are located in Asia, especially in the Himalayan range. Interesting fact, out of 10 highest peak above 8,000 meters, 8 lies in the Himalayas of Nepal. Here is the list of top 10 highest mountains in the world with the height and located place. First one, Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world and was the first to be scaled by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay in 1953. Recently, Everest has drawn a lot of attention. Photos of massive lines near the peak have sparked a heated discussion about Everest's overcrowding. But one thing is certain, Mount Everest's allure will endure for some time to come. Like moths to a flame, man is drawn to the mountain. Trekking to Everest Base Camp is extremely popular, in addition to those looking to go from there to the summit. In fact, it has grown to be among the most well-known multi-day hikes in the world. K2 is the world's second highest mountain. The Great Trigonometrical Survey of British India's notation, which was utilized to name the mountain, served as its inspiration. Because the peak at the time had no obvious local name, it persisted. The Savage Mountain moniker for K2 is also cool in a slightly point break, over-the-top crazy way. In addition, it is appropriate. Despite being the second tallest peak in the world, the mountain is frequently regarded as one of the hardest in the world to climb and is reputedly more difficult than Mount Everest. With almost 300 successful summits and 77 fatalities, K2 actually has the second highest fatality rate per summit attempt of all mountains over 8,000 m. You are aware that Mount Everest was the highest mountain in the planet. Even you knew K2 was the second highest mountain. However, we wager that if you asked the majority of people what KANGCHENJUNGA was, they would likely say it was a type of fast food. Not at all. The third highest mountain in the world is KANGCHENJUNGA. 3 of its summits are on the border between Nepal and Sikkim in India, and the other 2 are in Nepal's Taplejung district. KANGCHENJUNGA is now the highest peak in India as a result. Up until 1852, the peak was truly believed to be the highest in the globe. Not because individuals were ignorant of Mount Everest, but rather because their estimations were inaccurate. Children all over the world were relieved that they would be primarily learning about Mount Everest instead of KANGCHENJUNGA because it is significantly easier to say and spell. However, after additional research by the Great Trigonometrical Survey of India, it was discovered that KANGCHENJUNGA was actually the third highest mountain in the world. The fourth one is because of its proximity to Mount Everest. LHOTSE is one of the more well-known summits on any list of the top 10 highest mountains in the world. From Everest Base Camp, the ascent of LHOTSE follows the same path until Camp 3, when it diverges to the rice couloir from the LHOTSE face, from which the peak of LHOTSE is reached. LHOTSE is comparable to Mount Everest's neglected younger sibling. LHOTSE is considerably less busy, even though it is frequently thought to be more visually appealing than Everest, which receives all the attention. The LHOTSE middle really remained the highest unclimbed, named point on Earth for decades, despite the fact that the main summit of LHOTSE was first reached in 1956. Eventually, a Russian team ascended it for the first time in 2011. The fifth one is the third of the 4 8,000-meter mountains. MAKALU is located in Nepal's Everest Massif. A French expedition headed by Jean Franco was the first to reach the summit in 1955. The fact that all 10 members of the expedition team reached the mountain's peak during the expedition made their ascent particularly noteworthy. This was a big accomplishment back then because, on an expedition, only 1 or 2 climbers from each team often made it to the summit. In addition, it's just really gorgeous, isn't it? On May 15, 1955, the first 2 people to reach the summit were followed by 4 more climbers the following day, and 4 more the day after that. Really, it's just pretty wholesome mountain climbing. Sixth one is Cho Oyu is the 4th and last member of the 8,000 m club in the Everest region. Cho Oyu, at 8,188 meters, is the 6th highest mountain in the world and is regarded as the simplest of the 8,000-meter summits to climb because to its kinder climbing slopes. Additionally, the Nangpa Pass, a vital trade route between the Tibetan and Khumbu Sherpas, is only a few kilometers away. Cho Oyu would be the easygoing, laid-back backup vocalist in a boy band made up of the 4 mountains in the Everest region that are higher than 8,000 meters. Not the flashiest, but most likely the most relatable, the People's Mountain. If you're curious, Makalu would be somewhere in the background just making sure everyone got along, while LHOTSE would be the best vocalist, constantly having its spotlight stolen by Everest's outrageous haircuts. Strange analogy, we are aware. Let's get going right now. The Dhaulagiri in Nepal is the 7th highest mountain in the world at 8167 m, and one of the most aesthetically stunning mountains of the lot. The Dhaulagiri was first climbed on May 13, 1960, but is perhaps best known for its visibility on the popular Annapurna circuit, with Annapurna just 34 kilometers away and the Dhaulagiri a regular feature on the skyline while trekking Annapurna. The mountains are separated by the world's deepest gorge, the Kaligandaki Gorge, so it's not a part of the world that's particularly struggling for scenery. The term Manaslu, which refers to the 8th highest mountain in the world, is derived from the Sanskrit word manasa, which means intellect or soul in English. Toshio Imanishiro and Giles Norbu, who were a part of a Japanese expedition that reached the mountain summit on May 9, 1956, were the first people to climb Manaslu. Ascendancy generated debate. Locals in the region blocked a Japanese expedition from reaching the summit in 1954 because they thought earlier attempts had angered the gods and led to avalanches that damaged a nearby monastery and killed 18 people. The second climb of Manaslu didn't occur until 1971, when another Japanese team successfully finished the ascent. Although the Japanese gave a significant donation to reconstruct the monastery, this did not improve relations with the expeditions. Nanga Parbat, located in Pakistan's Gilgit-Baltistan area in the western Himalayas, is the 9th highest mountain in the world. The words Nanga and Parvata, which translate to naked mountain, are Sanskrit, as are many of the other mountains' names. Perhaps the peak's Tibetan name, Diamur, which means great mountain, is more suitable, if a little lacking in creativity. In every direction, Nanga Parbat actually towering over the nearby, low-lying valleys. The beautiful Rupal face on the mountain is frequently referred to as the highest mountain face in the world because it climbs a full 600 m above its base. The 10th highest peak in the world, Annapurna in Nepal, is also one of the most well-known since Annapurna hiking is well-known throughout the world. Despite being only the 10th tallest peak in the world, Annapurna has the highest percentage of fatalities of any mountain on this list, with 32% of attempts to reach the summit ending in death. Annapurna Circuit Walk, which circles Annapurna and offers vistas from Dhaulagiri to the mountain passes of the Annapurna Massif, is much more well-known than the summit attempt. Additionally, growing in popularity are treks to the Annapurna Sanctuary, the starting point for ascents to the Annapurna peaks. There you have it, then. The 10 tallest mountains in the world are listed above. The 10 highest peaks. However, the fantastically titled Gusherbrum 8080 m near the Pakistan-China border deserves special note. It is the 11th highest peak in the world and, as such, falls only 19 meters short of making this list and the fame and money that go along with it.